I'm a lifelong resident of the District of Columbia. I was born and raised here. Bicycling, walking, and transit have been my primary means for getting around the city since I was a child, and the safety, health, and convenience of these modes are really an important part of my quality of life here, probably the most important part. On December 1st, 2008, I was struck by a speeding minivan while riding my bicycle on, and I know this will come as a big shock, Connecticut Avenue Northwest. I attach a copy of the police report from this incident to my testimony. Without dwelling on the details of the crash, I don't think it will be a shock either when I say that the driver claimed that I caused the accident by throwing myself in front of his car, but that I have a different take on it. He hit me from behind. The force of the impact unclipped me from my pedals and threw me over 10 feet through the air away from my bicycle. My back was sprained and my pelvis was broken in 3 places. I was transported to Sibley Hospital, which was just the beginning of 8 months of a very painful recovery. And I realize now that I'm so grateful that I'm here telling you this and that it isn't my mother. I'm grateful for my life. The officer who responded to my accident did come to Sibley Hospital to interview me. At the hospital, he asked me for my side of the story, and it was really different from the driver's. What I would expect after that is just that the police report would include what he said, what I said, end of story. But actually, if you look at the police report, you'll see that Officer Bryant wrote in the report, the bicyclist and her bike were on the ground in the 3rd lane. There were no witnesses on the scene. He does not write anything about the distance between my body and the bicycle, but he does write that the driver states the bicyclist hit the side of the van at the passenger side mirror. There was no damage. In fact, while there were no witnesses to the collision, several pedestrians ran to the scene immediately after the crash. Officer Bryant never saw me on the ground in the 3rd lane, as I had been moved by the ambulance crew prior to his arrival. These witnesses attempted to tell the officer that I had been on the ground in the 4th lane and where they had found my bicycle, but he did not record their testimony or contact information. If one of those witnesses had not slipped his business card into my pocket as the EMTs took me away, I would never have known what happened at the scene of the crash or had any objective testimony to support my civil tort against the driver. Through this process, I've discovered that, in fact, the collision was strong enough to snap the passenger side mirror off of the van, in spite of the report stating there was no damage. The consequences for bicyclists and pedestrians when MPD officers do not know the law or do not enforce it after the fact are dire. When one car rear-ends another on a city street, in almost all cases, the rear driver is held at fault and their insurance pays for the minor repairs required on the front car. When a minivan rear-ends a bicyclist, a near-death experience is followed by months of painful recovery, over $15,000 in medical bills, and an even longer journey through the civil court system seeking accountability. It should not be that complicated. Outreach efforts by local advocacy groups have tried to educate MPD officers about city traffic laws related to bicyclists and pedestrians. However, ultimately the MPD are accountable not to local advocates, but to the city council that has oversight over their budget. I'm here to ask you today to hold MPD accountable for making sure that officers know the law, that they enforce it to protect the most vulnerable road users, rather than downplaying these incidents as accidents where there is no damage. I also suggest that the traffic crash report form that MPD uses be revised and improved so that it is an appropriate tool for reporting collisions involving pedestrians or cyclists. As you can see from the attached form from my accident, it's rigidly designed to apply only to collisions between cars, which limits the officer's ability to record relevant and important information about bicycle and pedestrian crashes, even when they have the best of intentions. Thank you.